welcome to SVG-TV News for today, Thursday, November 5th, 2020. I am Rochelle Batiste with this special edition of our news on Election Day. Here now is the details. Bright sunshine greeted Vincentians this morning as they prepared to head out to polling stations across the nation to cast their ballots in today's general elections. Even before the first blush of dawn, some people were already in line hours ahead of the 7 a.m. opening of polling stations. The party spent the last month making their pitch while they should form the next government, and the voters are speaking today as they make their choice of candidates and party. A total of 98,119 persons are eligible to vote. SVG-TV visited a number of polling stations on mainland and in Bequia and found a generally smooth process, as we hear in the following reports. In the North Windward constituency, voters began queuing up from as early as 5 a.m. to cast their votes. From reports, there were little to no hiccups when the polling stations opened at 7 a.m. A steady stream of voters in long lines were observed at most of the polling stations. In North Windward, the NDP Chevron John is seeking to defeat the incumbent ULP's candidate Montgomery Daniel. In South Central Windward, we also spoke with party agents and voters.
In the right order, you know. Yeah, so I enjoy participate and thing in the voting, you know. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
We're working as hard as we could. We're doing our best. Make sure now that everything go according to the law. We have some problems, but we have our lawyers dealing with that right now in the polling station. And I just hope that everything would work out fairly. We must have a fair election.
So far, the voting and the process has been going so smoothly so far. Okay.
The process was very easy for me. I just came in. The agents just told me exactly which line to go in, and I went in and everything was explained to me, and I voted. It was a very easy process, and I hope that's who I voted for will win victory. Yeah, thank you.
Far, the process is going smoothly. The polling station was open on time, and people have been coming steadily to vote. So everything is okay for the time being.
It's okay, going smooth. Except somebody come who live around here and try to vote, and the people start to make noise. So that's the point going on right now.
At the Stubbs Government School, our news team caught up with ULP's candidate Frederick Stevenson after 10 a.m. He was on one of his many stops in the South Windward polling stations. Stevenson had already cast his vote about an hour earlier.
I visited all the polling stations, polling divisions in my constituency, and one or two of them are going slow, but most of them are doing pretty okay, and there's a large turnout of persons in South Windward. I'm confident that the ULP will win South Windward again.
The NDP's candidate is Noel Dixon. There are 6,668 registered voters in South Windward. In East St. George, the largest constituency, where there are 8,636 registered voters, there were long lines from early this morning. 3 candidates are contesting in this constituency: the ULP's Camilla Gonzalez, Lavon Velox of the NDP, and the Green Party's Ivan O'Neill. We spoke to agents and voters.
It was a kind of bit slow, but I still get through and appreciate it. But you get some people just come and they just walk in and get through before guys like people who lining up there. So they get a little talking and stuff like that, but everything go all right still.
This is my second time. Not much people get the opportunity to do this stuff. So when you have the opportunity to make your country better and for the future of the kids, it's a good thing.
Pretty good so far. It's been a steady pace. A lot of people are in and out, but I guess about 12 we'll see it's slow down a bit, and then after that it'll pick up. Yeah, that's what we think. But actually, yes. So we've been helping them a lot. So from here they go to the office down there and they get through easily. If they can't get through as fast as they can, we'll help them go in. Elderly, the people with babies, pregnant women as well, we help them in, yes, and nurses and police officers as well.
There were long lines in the West St. George constituency even before the polling stations opened as voters prepared to cast their ballots. Few masks were visible. There are 7,559 persons registered to vote, with 2 candidates, Curtis King representing the Unity Labour Party and K. Bacchus Batiste, the candidate for the New Democratic Party. Though the process was moving smoothly, persons complained about the lines, which they said were moving much slower than in previous elections. A few left as a result, while others remained until it was time to vote. SVG-TV visited the Belmont Government School as well as polling divisions B and B1 at the Gourmet Methodist School and polling division C and C1, where voters, including party agents, spoke to our news team.
So far, it's going very smoothly. We have no problem whatsoever, so we're just waiting to see throughout the day how everything would be. But for now, it's doing very fine.
It was very good, and I make my 96, and it was very good.
It's my 3rd time voting. Yes, it's somewhat smaller. I want to say the hand sanitizer and the mask were added this time, but it's basically the same thing.
Well, so far it has been going very smoothly with no serious problems. People, you know, as usual, the young people with one of the line is a bit long, you know, so, and the fact that, you know, the protocols, you know, things are moving a bit slow, but that is expected. But some people, you know, don't have the patience.
The election process in Belmont by the government school was very smooth. You line accordingly, there was no anybody quarreling or anything, and it was done pretty orderly.
Voters in the North Leeward constituency were out in their numbers from as early as 2 a.m. to cast their votes in today's general elections. At the polling station located at the Spring Village Methodist School, elderly persons were being assisted by their family members, and a few persons were observing the COVID-19 protocols by wearing face masks. The residents in the area said the voting process was smooth and hassle-free.
Up about minutes to 1. Persons reached here before 2 o'clock this morning, and the process has been a smooth one. No problem so far. We're going good.
How was the process for you?
Good.
Good. Everything went smooth. No hiccups.
Yeah. Good. Everything go good.
The process was excellent. No quarrel, no noise, no disagreement. Everybody was just united, and it was an excellent process. I could say it was the best so far.
So far as I am seeing it, the process has been extremely good, and it's really smooth, and we are just looking forward later for a resounding ULP victory.
It went well.
It went well, everything was smooth?
Yeah, smooth, yeah, everything smooth.
Like on the mainland, voters on Beckway in the Northern Grenadines constituency began turning out early to cast their ballots. Clayton Oliver reports that at the Bamboo Shot and at the Beckway Anglican Primary School, the voting process was unfolding smoothly.
632 persons registered to vote here, of which 323 are males and 309 females. So far, 138 persons would have voted already. It's about midday, and there's a fairly long line here, persons waiting quietly, patiently, in an orderly fashion here to cast the vote. And it's kind of slow because of the COVID protocols, as one can understand. Clayton Olivier in Beckway for SVG-TV News on the 2020 general elections.
In the Marico constituency on mainland, voting was progressing smoothly. Our news team spoke with voters and party agents.
For me, to be honest, when I just reached here at the destination, the way how I was approached by some people who working at the polling station, they don't deserve the work. I'll tell you no plain time. I went and I asked, it's you I have to ask where my name is, and their response was, when I go ask the NDP people them. So me cost them.
We're here today at Morocco here at the Bonpan Lodge Society. We have already turnouts here, and we do believe by 6 o'clock we'll be able to, all persons will be voted.
Yeah, well, the process going rather smooth. You find that the crowd keep building up. Well, polling started about 7 o'clock, but then there was one problem we had. The postal was up very close to the polling station, less than 100 yards. And after the polling start, it was taken down.
Few little interruption with those on the other side there, but we clarified it, right? I just went to release one of our inside agents. I have my document here, so I went inside and showed the police that I have to release her. And when I was coming out back, all the NDP people started to run out and saying, well, we know where you are all up to, and I set her back and that. But I spoke with nobody else but the police when I went inside, and I showed him this, that I have to release somebody to go and vote, and I will hold on until the post will come.
Our news team also caught up with the NDP's candidate in West St. George, K. Bacchus Batiste.
Persons are complaining that the list is not the same, just like what happened last year, that there's some names on the list that we don't have on our final list, but we are dealing with that, you know. The ballot paper seemed to be in order this time, and luckily I had to stop someone at one polling station. She's going to cut off the part with the initials, even though she's trained, but I corrected her, and luckily that was the first station I went to, so I think she's getting it all right. So let's see, it's going pretty okay.
And persons came out to vote in their numbers in the constituency of North Central Windward, where there are 15 polling stations and 5,680 registered voters. 3 candidates are contesting in this constituency. We hear more in this report.
Persons gathered from as early as 5:30 to be first in line to cast their vote. What was evident was that some persons wore masks while others did not. At the Georgetown Secondary School at around 9 a.m., there were still long lines as voters waited their turn to cast their ballots. At the Georgetown Government School, there were shorter lines and face coverings. We spoke to an elderly man as well as a father and his son who is a first-time voter.
I've been voting for a number of years, but my son is down Sim Jones, so just brought him along.
Party agents were outside of the school compound assisting persons, while the NDP agents had no comments. ULP agents said there were no hiccups.
Oh, people were here early on before. We came here minutes to 6 and there was already a lot of persons here. Polls open at 7 and so far so good. We haven't had any problems so far. People are coming out to vote.
At the Connery District Office, there were also persons queued in an orderly manner. An 83-year-old man who had just finished voting said that he had to ensure that he exercised his right to vote for the candidate of his choice.
All the time since Ralph Gonsalves get in power, I am supporting him, and I don't sit down right here. When I don't vote, I just come here and sit down because I didn't ready for what party I come from.
Agents from the 2 main parties spoke to us.
It's going so far so good. But we have an attitude man come here this morning. He run out the car and tell us like some hog and some dog, move from me, move from me. I don't know they're too far. I'm near to the police station. He don't even identify himself. He don't even tell us morning. He don't even tell us his name. And we was upset about that.
His name is Cotilla Lewis, and I'm the party NDP agent outside. Everything is going smooth for the moment. We are assisting the voters anywhere they want to get picked up and drop them back.
At the Pamela Burke Government School, an auxiliary police officer assisted with hand sanitizing while agents were busy assisting persons and had some concerns. Over the Park Hill Government School, party agents were observed working together to assist voters. At that school, we also spoke with a first-time voter.
For me, voting the first, I was kind of excited.
not take too long, like a little 15 minutes and thing.
The process has been going smoothly, going well, well organized. You know, we have everything down pat. The agents are working, you know.
The majority is young people. And for the first time they are voting. They came out and the old one too, down to the sick one home coming out. The people bring them and we are going smoothly.
The candidates vying to be the next constituency representative are the incumbent and the leader of the Unity Labour Party, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, first-timer Chieftain Neptune of the New Democratic Party, and Cadimel McPhee of the SVG Green Party. For SVG-TV News, Larissa Pogsley-Kidd.
And there are 2 monitoring teams in SVG observing the general elections. The Caribbean Community CARICOM has sent a team of election observers, and there is a local team from the National Monetary and Consultative Mechanism. Chair of the NMCM, Reverend Adolph Davis, said that they have more than 30 persons overall as observers, with each constituency having at least 3 to 4 persons. He told SVG-TV News that there were minor hiccups which were sorted out and that a few voters voiced some skepticism.
What I've observed so far is that there is a level of suspicion of the process, which naturally has its own benefits but also its disadvantages. So, for example, I overheard some young fellas questioning why we're using pencil, and he say, well, you know, they press very hard because, in a sense, he knows they want to erase your vote. You know, so you have those kinds of things that have been minimally evident from my experience. I wouldn't say significantly evident.
Reverend Davis said that with the protocols in place, it may have added to some challenges.
Number 2, the observations and feedback have been generally good. I think there are 1 or 2 little glitches which I think have been kind of rectified. I would have heard, for example, on one occasion, some persons may have been turned back for not having a mask. I know that was being rectified.
He said that he is generally satisfied with the conduct of the election campaign, even though there were minor concerns.
We have improved. We're not where we ought to be by any stretch of the imagination. We have improved. In terms of even the way in which we have been able to observe some of the supervisors of the elections, engagement with the parties, and the last meeting we had, you know, parties virtually said that they were satisfied with how things have gone so far. So I think there has no doubt been some significant improvement. You know, the marking up of the streets, it occurred, but it's much less than in the past. So there have been improvement, even though there are some causes for concern.
The National Monitoring and Consultative Mechanism will be doing a report at the end of the elections. In other news, the St. Vincent and the Grenadines on Wednesday recorded 1 new COVID-19 case. The new case is a non-national who arrived from Europe with a negative PCR result and tested positive on day 14. A news release from the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, said the traveler will remain in isolation until clear with 2 negative PCR results, and that contact tracing of this new case has so far revealed no additional positive cases, with further contact tracing and testing ongoing. St. Vincent and the Grenadines has now recorded a total of 76 COVID-19 cases, 71 of which have recovered. There are now 5 active COVID-19 cases in the country, all imported from countries categorized as high risk. And the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Met Services is forecasting the development of a series of troughs which may lead to rain starting late on Saturday, November 7th, 2020, and which will continue into the week. This is likely to bring occasional moderate to heavy showers, thunderstorms, and gusty winds across the region, including SVG. Due to the saturated nature of the soils from the recent rainfall, flash flood watches or warnings warnings are likely to be issued during the upcoming days. All residents are advised to keep informed and pay close attention to information being issued by the SVG Met Services.